Hi everyone. And before we actually start the lab session, I just want to let you know, chemistry lab is very fun thing. However, there are going to be a lot of potential um, risk or it can be very dangerous if you don't maintain like a good rule. So right now, I just wanted to let you guys to know how important of being successful in the chemistry lab while you're maintaining your safety. Okay. So staying safe means that you as a student, you before you come to the classroom, I don't want you guys to touch anything before the instructors let you. And then there are going to be a lot of chemicals that be put into the containers, and you can see that in the hood. So just make sure like you read the labels. If you on the containers of the chemicals, a lot of chemicals can be like a very and poisonous. So don't really touch without the gloves. You need to always be preparing for the gloves. And then also make sure that you read the material, save the data sheet that is labeled in the lab. And then usually it's going to be next to the hood. So before you touch anything that you need to read carefully about the material safety data sheets and also handle the chemicals with care. Because majority of the chemicals are very dangerous, so you have to be very careful. And also try to use correct protective clothing and equipment. Don't enter the lab with the shorts. Also, you have to close your entire feet with the toes and everything. Don't wear shorts, come and also come to the lab. We make sure that you don't wear slippers. Don't wear any sandals. You have to wear proper shoes. We call it PPE, so that you can enter into the lab. And also remember the emergency procedures. I will train you guys once. Don't be panic if there are any fire or there are any spill of the chemicals. Always try to call the teachers before you do any action. But the chemical labels is actually labeled on the container. So try to read if it is flammable and better if it's hazardous, or better if it is containing some poisons. So don't try to open it. You always make sure that you name and then label and how to identify the uh, what is meaning of the chemicals. Whether if it's poisonous, then there should be a skeleton label on there. If it is flammable, that there should be a fire label on there. And also be careful of the date of the chemicals and the name of the chemicals before you touch them. The health hazardous on the chemical labels also something that contains of the carcinogens. If it is bad for your health, you cannot even inhale it. So don't try to touch it and then with no gloves. And also, some chemicals are highly toxic agents. You're not able to handle it in the air. Make sure that they're all operating in the hood. So without the teacher's instruction, you're not supposed to do so. And then also some of the reproductive hazard and irritated hazard is very, very easy to, once it's exposed in the air, it's very easy to cause fire. So always be careful. And some like a strong, like a basic or acidic liquid that can be containing of the corrosive um, to your hands. So never try to touch with your hands. And also be careful of the corrosive and it can react to the container and make sure that you see if it is in the correct container. If it is acidic, try not to use any like air container to touch the liquid. Always try to make sure that you're using the glassware. Also, do not breathe any vapors. Everything, the procedure that should be done in the hood. You're not allowed to do any, like touch any chemicals that is not be done in the hood. And also you have to use well ventilated areas and make sure don't cause any chaos between among your classmates. And this is in the lab, you're not supposed to have fun with each other and try to make sure that your behavior is limited and don't have fears of active behavior because it's going to be potentially very, very dangerous. And also avoid contact to skin that I have been telling you all the time. And then don't touch the chemicals with your hand. And also when you finish the lab, make sure you wash thoroughly with soap and also water after handling. And also keep away from sparks, heat, and flame. If it is having a strong uh, fire there, and then make sure that you don't cause any fire. Do not store it near the combustion materials, is because if it is combustive, and it's going to be causing the fire. So it's very, very dangerous. And also try to store the tight closed in the container in the hood. Try to dump everything in the hood and then remove and wash container closingly promptly. And also you need to keep from contact with clothing and other combustible materials. So always make sure that the container, if it is labeled as a flammable, that means that you're not supposed to uh, uh, you can use it, but just to make sure that you are handling correctly and just to be careful of causing fire. Common signal words on labels. One is labels dangers that can cause immediate serious of injury or death, and warning. Warning usually it will be a label as like an exclamation mark on there, so it can cause potential serious injury or death. And also caution, it can cause potential moderate injury. The special like symbols used on the labels that you gotta be careful. Once it's labeled as toxicity, and then don't eat, put anything in your mouth, not even your eyes. If you get anything exposed in your eyes, just to go to the wash immediately. And if you ever touch on your skin, there is gonna be a shower corner in there. So try to pull the handle down. I'm gonna be showing the clustering, and then you're gonna be very careful. And also injectables, so some flammable solvents and also continuous solids. If you're handling with the solvents that are organic, especially in the organic chemistry, and then it's going to be very dangerous. Also, make sure that you are work on the reactivity of sodium and also various of water reaction agents. So those labels are very, very careful. So it's called an NFP type labels. And then just try to make sure that you read the color. So there usually is labeled as four color. The first color that is in red represent of hazardous. And then the yellows represent incendiable, and the blue represent health, and the black represent the specific like hazardous or potential protection. The number shows the degree of hazardous. If it is zero, that means minimal. One means slightly, two means moderate, three means serious, and four is going to be the highest level. That is going to be the very, very severe. So just very be careful of handling anything that is labeling as those of labels. Um, so also the next thing is try to read about the labels that has four color. The black means the specific color, OX means oxidizer, and the red means acid, and the alkali, that means the basic thing, and also corrosive. So you have ever seen the skeleton? It's pretty scary. That means it's a very, very poisonous, and don't touch with your hand. That means you're even with a glove sometimes not safe. So try to avoid of touching it directly your hand or your skin. And also some are really explosive. And even you touch like a little bit collision, then it can explosive. So always be careful of those kind of things. Um, The next thing I want to talk about the inhalation. So if you're contact with lungs through the inhalation, that is very, very bad because some of the drugs are, if you inhale, it's gonna be cause like a severe damage to your lungs, and you might get like, for example, uh, natural dioxide. Those kind of gas are very, very poisonous. So try to avoid it. And ingestions, digestive tract through the eating or smoking with contaminated hands or in contaminated work areas. Absorption through the skin wise can also be very dangerous. So try to avoid the determinants of our the damage to the liver, kidney, or other organ system. And also, some hazardous can be like can damage your health through injection. Percutaneous injection of the toxic sustainable substance through the skin. Like what I said, try to make sure that your PPE are wear and also wear a goggles before you enter the lab, and then never try to touch any chemicals with your raw hand. And also some specific health and hazardous is also including of acute like a poisonous rapid assimilation of the substance like a carbon monoxide. If you inhale this, it's gonna make you like unconscious. So always try to make sure that you don't inhale this. And also chronic poisoning, and then those are like lead poisoning. So in the history, some people are taking too much lead or mercury. It's gonna be potentially like damage your health with a chronic poisoning. Also, cumulative poisoning that mirrors of chronic like exposure, like heavy metals, like mercury, I just said, and also some like the heavy metals are very dangerous. Even they have like radiation. Um, for example, uranium, those are very dangerous. So try to stay away. And substances in combination, like a synergistic effect, exposure to alcohol and chlorinic solvents. Those are also very dangerous things. And also try to always wear goggles. If you ever see any chemical spill in your eyes, always make sure rush into there and then wash your eyes uh with a fresh water and then always try to wash it. So if you ever cause like a nauseous and dizziness and try to report to the teacher and then try to so we will take care of you and go take you to the hospital. And if you ever visit any skin rashes, that means you have contaminated. And then don't be so always try to wash with fresh water immediately for at least 10 to 15 minutes. And also some emergency first aid procedures to follow, and also accidental release of measures. And then if you ever see some spills and leaks, don't be panic. And then you don't need to clean it. So you just always report to the teachers and we will handle it. And how to correctly dispose of the substance, equipment, procedure for cleanup, spills and leaks. And I will train you guys carefully later. And really the storage. So how to handle the storage of substance safely, and then all other precautions like a grounding containers during the transfer of flammables. And then also you have to make sure that don't exposure of the controls, the personal protections, and reparative like gloves and eye protection, protective clothing, and ventilation. Um, like what I said, so before you enter to the lab, I'm gonna check everyone to make sure that you guys are having the proper PPE. No one can enter the lab without the proper PPE. Yeah, pretty much that's it. And then I just wanted to make sure everyone just to take it serious because working in the lab is very fun. However, also going to be very dangerous. But if you follow the procedures and also read the signs on the containers and don't make any um, fierce activity, for example, rushing or pushing other people, then you should be fine. Thank you for watching the video for chemistry lab safety training. I really appreciate your time.